I'm Joe Robbins,
And I'm Jesse Antonio.
and you are watching Joe and the Pro, the internet's new premier sports show.
Welcome to another show. We are going to do something a little special for you rather than a full show right here. We're going to do what our heart beats for dearest, I would say, and that is the NBA and the NBA playoffs. We're down to the conference finals, and Joe, what's on your mind when it comes to these conference finals?
Well, for those of you following us on Twitter, twitter.com/Joe and the Pro if you're not, but those of you who already are, you saw we made our picks before the conference finals of who we thought would advance to the finals, and I took the Celtics and the Lakers, and you took the Magic and the Suns, and right now Celtics up 3-1 after tonight's loss, Suns down 2-1 to the Lakers, and so this isn't a knock on all, and I think on you at all. I think my picks from the last round prove that this is not an exact science, but the Magic were clearly the favorites coming in. What happened?
That's a question I've been asking watching the Magic get destroyed in the first three games until game four tonight when they won in overtime. You could look at a lot of things. You could look at the fact that they just plowed through the first two rounds. The Bobcats, the Hawks were both sweeps, and they kind of easily went through them too. Dwight Howard was shooting 83% in the series against Atlanta, 84% as a matter of fact, and that's absurd. I mean, that shows you just
Right.
how easy it was for them. So it could
Dominating.
be a fact that they didn't have a lot of competition. It could be a fact that they overestimated their themselves and got complacent. Um, it could be the fact that they had such a long layoff. It could just be that they're playing awful, which is really what the real deal of it is. And the Celtics are just turning it on and meshing at the exact right time of the NBA, and that's during the playoffs, deep into the playoffs. Going into it, I thought that the Heat would beat them. A lot of people had given up on them. They just looked like they weren't the team that they now shown that they can be, like the 2008 team. And everybody's just no one's having a good series. Vince Carter had 3 points tonight. It's surprising they won with numbers like that. Dwight Howard he's went from shooting 84% in the last series to 45% in this series. And Rashard Lewis, who is their highest paid player, expected to do a lot, has been playing real well in the first two series, shooting 25% in this series. 1 of 13 from the three, which is really his biggest ticket. So, beyond all the other things I explained, they're just not playing well, and the Celtics are playing out of their mind. Rondo has stepped it up incredibly in the last few years, more than any other superstar, any other player to become a superstar. And they're just doing it at the right time, and I really don't even know how else to explain it. It shocks me. What do you think? I mean, obviously, you saw something in the Celtics. You told me about it before. You just felt something was on. What did you see, and what are you seeing now?
Yeah, I think the real change, and again, they got worked at home coming back from Cleveland after that big game and got blown out by 20 points. But I think, with the exception of that game, which seems now like it was more of a fluke, their defense, they just reminded me of the '08 defense, and they hadn't had it all year. And I think it's what you said, or since the early part of the season, and I think it's what you said, they just started clicking, and I saw that really come through on the defensive end, and maybe it's telling about tonight's game too. You look at the Magic's team field goal percentage for the first three games. Game one, they were held to 41.6%. Game two, 39.4%. And then game three, 37%, 36.9%. So amazing team defense by the Celtics, obviously, in all three wins. And then tonight's game, they came back and they outshot the Celtics, which I think the Celtics can still win, being outshot by the Magic, if it's as long as the Magic shoot poorly. The Celtics have shown they don't need to shoot well to win, but But today, the Magic shot almost 45% as a team, and still they only won by 4 points in overtime. So I
Right.
think even tonight's game, I mean, obviously Orlando got the W, but it shows just what the Celtics have been able to do, and this was their worst defensive output as a team, and they still only lost by 4 in overtime. So yeah, I think they're just clicking, and like you said, the Magic, all the ways that they've been playing poorly, it's all related to that defense. Some of it has been sloppy play and hustle by the Celtics, but it's mostly just been that defense. And then, like you mentioned, and this is what the hustle relates to also, Rajon Rondo, MVP of the playoffs overall. He's having the best playoffs, and he's outshining the big three, and he's really making them go. He's getting rebounds, great rebounding point guards, and when we talk about rebounding with point guards, there's always above the rim and below the rim in terms of the easy long rebounds that come out to point guards who are up higher, and then the ones down low where they're scrapping in there and getting them. And Jason Kidd has always been a great rebounder because he's a point guard who can get the below the basket rebounds, and I think that's what Rondo's been doing, and he's just been out hustling them. So I think definitely, the engine that makes him go, no question.
And I think going back to what you were saying about just how tough a defense they're playing, the way they blew them out in the first 3 games, I think mentally the Magic are pretty much checked out. I'm actually kind of surprised they won this game. I thought that they would lose just from the demeanor I saw. Dwight interviews in the last few days. He usually he's a fun-loving, kind of very energetic guy, happy all the time, joking around. He's very somber, talking very quietly, keeping it short. So it just looks like mentally they've been defeated almost already. Game 3, it was over in the first quarter. So, I mean, that shows you right there. The Celtics just have that mentality, that killer mentality again. I feel like Garnett spreads it, and Rondo has some feistiness in him too. So, eventually it's going to be over, and a team's never come back down from 3-0. But
right.
Who knows? I think it'll go 1 or 2 more games, and that's it, and the Celtics will be in the finals.